You guys, I'm having the worst day ever because it's almost the 3 year anniversary of my mom's death. I keep listening to this one song, Into the Mystic by Van Morrison. She used to love that song. She used to dance around the kitchen, or I can picture her with her eyes closed singing. So I've been spending my morning crying. So hard to get over your parent dying. It was hard for me to get over my dad. I didn't even want to get out of bed. I just clutched the few things that were given to me of his. I put them in a Ziploc bag, a plastic gallon-sized bags, and I just clutched them while in bed crying. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I didn't think I was ever going to get out of that bed. I didn't have that luxury when my mom died. It really messed me up, man. It really. I'm still having such a hard time with her death. 3 years on, I wasn't still having this hard of a time with my father's death. I had come to terms with it way before 3 years. But every January, February, she passed away middle of February, and every January, February, I'm just a complete wreck. A complete wreck. And now my, I don't know what he is, boyfriend, I don't know, is coming home the middle of March and putting all these expectations on me where I've been without him for over a year and a half, and my life has been so peaceful. Um, we just talk on the phone every day, and then I know when he comes home, he's going to turn my life upside down and make it chaotic again. I'm 53 years old. I'm too old to have chaos in my life. Not only that, but he partakes in all kinds of illegal activities constantly. Like, he's constantly thinking like a criminal. And that is not me at all. Like, not at all. I stole some jewelry. I tried to steal some jewelry from Kmart once when I was about 8 years old. And we got busted before we even got out the door, me and my friend. And I never stole again. Never. And I never, ever did anything illegal again. They scared me enough. And the last thing I would give up is my freedom. There is nothing worth my freedom. No illegal activity is worth my freedom. I don't care if it's a brand new Mercedes. I don't care if it's $1 million. That is not worth my freedom. And even just being associated with somebody who does illegal things and shady things is very scary to me. Like, I don't want people like that anywhere around me. I don't want to be associated with them. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to hear what they're doing. I don't want to know what they're doing. Nothing. I just don't want people like that around me. And I've never surrounded myself with people like that. And I have a really good time with him. Like, he's a really funny guy. But he just is a toddler in a grown man's body. It's weird. Um, he's an only child, and he's really spoiled. Um, so that has a lot to do with his maturity level. And he feels like I should be his second mommy. Like he's wanting me to spend all this money when he comes home on hotel rooms, but I'm broke. I'm completely flat ass broke. When my mom died, I smashed my car and totaled it. Ever since then, my life has financially plummeted. And I don't have money. I gotta pay for Ubers. I gotta pay for grocery delivery. I gotta pay. I don't have everybody. When my mom died, all my friends and all my family moved out of state. All of them. Every last one of them. And then I only had a handful of friends from childhood. I'm not the kind of person that makes friends, easy. I'm not that outgoing. So all my friends were from childhood, and they have all moved. Not out of state, but like 6, 7 hours away. And so I literally have nobody. Nobody here. And I hate having to rely on my boyfriend's mother because he doesn't drive. So I hate depending on his mother to cart me around. She'll do it, no problem. But she's old. I don't want to put her out, and she works long hours. She's a very hard worker, and I don't want, and he's a burden to her. So I don't want to be then a second burden. That's not okay. In fact, I try to tell him to stop being such a burden to her, And it's like, I'm terrified for him to come home. I don't want all that chaos and craziness in my life again. I don't. I was almost evicted. I almost went to jail. Like, he got mad at me. And first he kicked my door in. And because I wouldn't open the door. Who does that? When you're a grown up. When you're a grown up, who does that? You don't answer your door, so I kick it in? What the hell? So he kicked my door in. Almost cost me my place to live then. And then the police were called. He was arrested. And I forgot what the hell I was saying. Anyway, he was arrested and oh, and then he went to jail, and he thought that I was pressing charges on him, which I have full right to because you kicked my door in, hello. But I wasn't. The officers were trying to press charges on him. They were saying that he hit me, but he really didn't hit me. He just kicked my door in. And they were trying to say that they heard him smack me on the 911 call. No. In fact, I told him I was going to call 911. Called 911 with him sitting right next to me. And the only way that I got off the phone with 911 is because I went to go put the phone by his face so that they could hear what he was saying. And my hand fumbled and the phone fell on the floor and he just picked it up and went to go hand it to me. So he wasn't trying to prevent me from calling 911 or anything because he knew he didn't do anything except kick my door in. Anyway, the police, I guess he got rough with the police at the police department and they pressed charges on him. So because they pressed charges on him, he thought I was pressing charges on him. And he was mad at me because he was on parole for some other bullshit. So he got mad at me and told them that I had some crazy shit on a laptop that was left here by my previous boyfriend. I didn't even have a way to get into the computer. But he was making it sound like it was me. It was my computer. The police came here and confiscated the computer. Fine, have it. Here it is. You're more than welcome to it. And they were asking me all these questions. Like, when did I ever access it? Have I ever accessed it? I'm like, no. I don't know anything about computers, so I don't know if you can tell or how you can tell. But if you can tell, you will see. I have not accessed that. I have not. If you can see who accesses it, it's not going to be me. Not my computer. I don't even know the passcode. He asked me what I thought the passcode might be. I gave him a couple of things that he could go into, but whatever he was saying was a lie because he had never seen anything on that computer. I didn't have the guy just left it here, and I didn't have I don't even think the charging cord was here, but it wasn't even charged. He had never even looked at it or anything. He'd never even looked in the computer. So he was just making shit up. He was trying to get me arrested. But it was a very, very serious thing that he was saying. And he was trying to get me like life in prison. He was trying to get me life in prison. And that scared the shit out of me. And it made me feel like I can't trust him. Like if he gets mad at me and he feels like if he can't have me, nobody can. And he's going to make it so that I'm in prison and can't have anybody. And like all my life, I have lived a law-abiding citizen. And I have never, ever, if I see that the people at the grocery store didn't charge me for an item, I go back into the store with the item and my receipt. I've done that my whole life. And if I see I was mischarged for something, whether it be to my benefit or not, I always say something. I'm not a thief, and I do not break the law. Bottom line, I do not. Like I said, nothing's worth my freedom. And I'm terrified of him. I'm afraid. He says he doesn't have that attitude anymore. He's over that, blah, 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 blah. But I think he's got mental illness. Like, I think he's crazy. And he's definitely bipolar. Probably borderline personality disorder. And definitely ADHD. I mean, he runs. Literally like a 3-year-old with ADHD. You know, usually adults, like I have ADHD too. But I'm not as hyper and shit as he is. Like, he does not shut up and he does not sit down. Anyway, whatever. I got, what, a month and a half left to figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do. And the phone I have is his phone that his mother's been paying for. I finally had mine cut off because I'm like, why am I paying for this bill when I have his phone? So I've had his phone this whole time, and his mom's been paying the bill. But now I gotta buy a new phone. Or at least I have a phone. I just need to get it hooked up. But, whatever. Anyway. I'm so broke. So broke. The courts have taken so much money from me from my car accident. I've had to pay out the butt, and I still owe over $1,000. I feel like it'll be 10 years before I get all this paid off. And then my mother paid my insurance. And my sisters didn't tell me when my mom first went into the hospital because they knew I'd flip out. So because they didn't tell me, I didn't know that my insurance wasn't getting paid. And her insurance wasn't getting paid, but no one was driving her car. My sisters didn't know my mom paid my insurance, and they didn't want to tell me she was in the hospital. So she had been in the hospital for like a month and a half, dying, mind you, and they didn't tell me because they didn't want to upset me. Thanks. So I have to pay for the damage for the other car. And of course, all of her fake injuries, I'm sure she's going to claim. But you can't get blood from a turnip. I am broke. I have no money. None. I'm on disability. I have a lot of... I probably don't look that healthy right now. But I know I look perfectly fine, but I'm not. I have a lot of physical disabilities. I have a lot of illnesses that prevent me from being able to even carry out normal daily tasks. Like one of them is I have severe memory loss, and there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to what I remember or what I forget. None. I literally can remember things that happened when I was 5, like it was yesterday. I can remember stuff that happened when I was 9, 15, 19. I mean, specific. Clothing that I wore, everything. But yet some things, huge scenarios, don't remember it at all. At all. Also, I'll be watching a TV show, and my son has done this, come into the room and say, "Oh, what are you watching?" and it's a commercial, and I'm like, I have no clue. I have no idea what I'm watching. I know I like it. I'm liking it, but I have no clue what it is. Could not remember. Just during a commercial. Couldn't remember what I was watching. So that is extremely hard to have something like that going on and be able to work a job. Also, I have scoliosis, which I don't know if you guys know about scoliosis, but it's a curvature of your spine, and you have horrific back pains and sciatic nerve damage to your legs and your arms. I mean, everywhere, and it just and your back, and they come out of nowhere, and sometimes they stay for months, sometimes they stay for a couple weeks, and it's just excruciating. I also have out of control diabetes. I have to take medication because the nerves in my feet and my legs and my hands and my arms are so damaged. My eyesight is extremely bad, which my father had diabetes, and that's actually how he died. His vision started going so bad that he went to walk across the street and didn't see a car, and it hit him, and he died. And my vision is going very rapidly, which is extremely scary. I'm afraid I'm going to go blind and lose my legs or an arm. And then I have extreme deep depression that puts me in a just devastated mood to the point where I am contemplating suicide a lot. And I have to admit that when Kyle is out, he takes my mind off that. He really does. I don't even think about it because he's like a bee, bzzz, all around you. Have you guys ever been to Vegas? You know how Vegas is so freaking on, like you can't wait to go home so you can be like, normalcy, quiet, calmness. That's how I feel when he leaves my house. But he is so in your face and bzzz, that you can't even think. And you know, from the minute I found out I was pregnant with, I've tried a million ways to commit suicide in my life. And the minute I found out I was pregnant with my son, I never thought about suicide again. Not even a little. I never even hated any part of my life until the day he moved out and went to college. The empty nest syndrome is a MFer. It is horrific. It was the worst for me. I was in complete mourning. It was as if my child died. Keep in mind, I am also the mother that sat outside in the parking lot when my child went to kindergarten for the first time and bawled my eyes out the entire time he was in there and waited for him to be done in the parking lot. And I remember that night going home, making dinner, giving him a bath, putting him to bed, and I was watching Oprah. I think I had taped it. And Oprah was interviewing women who have empty nest syndrome because they sent their children off to college. These women were so upset and worried about their kids. And I remember sitting there bawling my eyes out, thinking, I am so lucky. My child is only going to kindergarten and not away to college. Like, he's still in my house. I still get to be with him every day. I get to feed him and bathe him and put him to bed and read him stories. I remember thinking, you selfish bitch. Like, look at these poor women. Like, they are really going through it. And then I dried my tears up and I sucked it up. And then a couple years later, I realized that it's not a law. They don't have to go to kindergarten. They should tell people that, because my child was definitely smart enough. He knew everything. He knew everything. He did not need to go to kindergarten. He knew it all. Everything they taught him, he already knew. The teachers told me all the time, he leads the class because he knew everything. And that's just because he was a curious guy and he was my only child. So, I doted on him. And so, I would have spent I would have spent that one extra year with him. I would have loved to have that. I didn't know. They should tell people. I mean, if your kid doesn't know everything that a kindergartner should know at the end of kindergarten, then yeah, they need to go. And some kids need the socialization, but my child didn't need it. My child, every day, Monday through Friday, had children around, whether he was in school or not. If he had not been in school, he would have still been around kids Monday through Friday because of how I was living my life. Plenty of kids. I just love kids. I am a child baby fanatic. Can't get enough kids. They're just so happy and sweet, and their love is so pure. And they're so awesome. Because they think you're awesome no matter what. No matter what. And they're so honest. And they're funny. Oh my God, kids are so funny. They're like little comedians. One time I used to babysit these two twins. And they're two boys. One was a big fat roly poly, and one was a skinny guy. And it's funny because one was a big fat roly poly, pasty white with like blondish hair. And then the other one was a dark brown with darker hair, dark eyes, and this creamy mocha skin. They couldn't be more adorable, the two of them. And I would just sit on the floor with them all day, laughing hysterically. Just laughing with them and playing with them. And oh my, they would go take their naps. And I'd clean up and it would take 2 seconds. I'd be so bored. I'd be like counting down. Come on, haven't they slept long enough? They were so great. Twins are the best. I would love to babysit twins again. Kids are so awesome. I spent so much time with my nieces and nephews. They're all grown, live out of state now, but I spent a lot of time with them. I had so much joy with them. They really made my life. My kid made my life. The best time of my life was from the minute I found out I was pregnant with my son to the day he moved out. Yeah. And he's still my very favorite person. I love him so much. He's gorgeous. He's educated. He's a good son. He is. He's a really good son. And he's got some flaws. He's got some areas he could fix. But he's a good son. And he's a good person. I think he tries really hard to be a good person because he saw me doing things like bringing the milk back into the grocery store and telling them they didn't charge me for it. I made sure to do that stuff right in front of him. I made sure he knew all about it. I needed him to be a good person and do the right thing and have good values and morals. It was so important to me. I didn't have the best upbringing, so I wanted to change things around with him. And hopefully, he'll change things around with his children. Because, everybody screws their kid up. You don't know how bad or to what level until they grow up and tell you. But every child gets messed up to some degree from their parents. Because parents try to do what wasn't done for them in their childhood to their children. But really, their children aren't lacking it because they didn't have your childhood. They've got their own. But you're not thinking about that at the time. So, in order to save my son from my childhood, I did a lot of things different from my mom, but I went overboard. I overcompensated. And in the interim, it messed him up. And trust me, he grew up and told me. He did. He told me. And you know what I did when he told me? I owned it. I owned it. I apologized. And I told him I didn't know that what I had done that this, that, and the third, that had been, how he had been raised this, that, and the third way, that had affected him in that manner, and that I was sorry. If I had it all to do over again, I would. And I would not do that. Um, and I just apologized and said, I hope you can forgive me, and I hope that you can, you know, wipe the slate clean and live a good life. Um, on my mom's deathbed, I said to her, I'm not saying it. I said, I forgive you for everything, Mommy. Do you forgive me? And she said, yes. Today's a really bad day. And you know what? People like me that have severe depression and have had it my whole life, it's not fair. Because of this pandemic, people are needing counselors. Every counselor in the world is booked 6, 7, 8 months in advance. And people like me who have long life mental illness and need medication can't get an appointment. I need it to function. Like, come on, you're just being a pansy. Suck it up. So you were stuck in the house for 2 years during the pandemic. Get over it. Like, I need to really see a counselor on a regular basis. I need medication. And it's like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off here. I kind of feel better since I got to talk to you. Who is nobody? Who is maybe somebody who would randomly come across this video because I don't really have a YouTube channel. So, whatever. I watch Amberlynn and Foodie Beauty, and they talk to the camera all the time. That's what gave me the idea. Because it seems like when they're really upset, they get on, they've been upset, and they start talking, and then by the end of the video, they look like they feel a little bit better. So I thought maybe I should try it. Kind of worked. I don't know. Maybe I'll just use YouTube as a confessional. But what about when Kyle comes? Then it's going to turn into a drama channel. It's going to be like Foodie Beauty and Natter. God forbid. I would never put up with that crap. Anyway, all right, I'm going to get off here because I got to think about what I'm going to make for dinner and get that together. And I have so much cleaning to do today. I'm off doing nothing this week but staying home and cleaning. Usually around this time of year, I like to get some spring cleaning done. You get a little head start on it. But I don't do real spring cleaning until the weather gets so nice that I can open the whole sliding door and, enjoy the nice breeze, turn the music up, and then I get my bucket of suds and start scrubbing. Thanks for listening, anyone who might. Bye.